All right, so in this video, we're going to walk through lesson, is it the 3D modeling approach? We're going to kind of demonstrate some of the objects that are there, and then how do you read the chart for it. So I'm going to see you guys in there in just a second. All right, so you guys can see this is our PDF. It's just been uploaded to your guys's Google Classrooms. You can see that our objects are there. They're drawn isometrically, and they're ready for us to utilize the measurements that are given. We're going to talk mostly about these two, because these ones over here are pretty straightforward. We have our depth, our width, and then our height. This one's a cube, so they're all the same. And then our depth, our width, and our height are right there. So we have those kind of given to us. You guys can see them roughly drawn out. Had I realized that they were going to turn out like this, I probably would have done them a little differently. But we're going to focus on these right here. So let me make sure I have Fusion pulled up. Then we pull back up this. And so we're going to have that. I'm going to slide this off to the screen. So we're going to look at these two right here. They're the harder ones to deal with. So we're going to take a whole look at how to make these. Okay. The other ones, the cube, the extended cube, the rectangular cube, and then the other rectangular cube. Those are going to be ones that you'll do on your own. But we're going to first look at this. So I'm going to call this the bridge. So I have a new assignment up. I'm going to go ahead and going to go save it. So you can see I'm still in that 3D modeling folder. So I'm going to title it bridge. Okay, and so I'm going to start off saving this. And then I'm going to start creating it from here. Okay, so just like I did before, I'm going to always start with my sketch. We're going to go create this sketch, and I'm going to do it on that front plane because I'm going to extrude back from my design, utilizing this part as the front right here, and then this is going to be the right side, and this is going to be the top. So this part as the front. Okay, so I'm going to know my width is 2.75, so that means from this corner to that corner is 2.75. My height is 1.5 vertically, and my depth is 1.5. Okay, and then the radius for this cutout is going to be right in the middle of our line, and I'll show you guys how to get there. Okay, so we're going to start off by drawing the overall shape. Okay, now this part of our section gets into the idea of, do you want to do add-on, do you want to do cutaway for general design? Okay, for myself, I utilize this as cutaway because it's easier for me to cut a circle in there than it is for me to add a arc in there later on. Okay, so we're going to put in my height. My height is 1.5. Okay, that looks good. My width is 2.75. Okay, and I'm just going to finish off this. I'm going to hover over, get my projection line to show up, and I'm going to draw across. Oh, and if you do mess up like this to where I missed that endpoint, you can see that it highlights. I can click and hold and drag, and then now I have that back. Okay, so we can tell that this right here is not a fully enclosed shape. So I do need to add my constraint there to make sure to hold that, and then it turns my line from light blue to white. Okay, so from this point on, I'm going to start working with this in order to get this half moon shape in there. Okay, now you see I went and grabbed my center diameter circle. Okay, you could also do a arc. Okay, doing a 3-point arc. There's just more that you have to define from that point. Okay, whereas this circle right here, I can find what's known as the midpoint. So if you hover across and you see that triangle show up, that's what's known as the midpoint of that line, meaning that it bisects that line right in that midpoint there. Okay, so it's equal distance from this to the midpoint, and then from here to the other end. Okay, And so now I'm going to go through and I'm going to add in the dimension. Okay, now notice this circle is based off of a diameter. Okay, and it's given us the radius of 1. Okay, well, the relationship to the radius to diameter is going to be 2 radiuses to 1 diameter. Okay, so it's given us the radius of 1, so that means our diameter is 2. Okay, now you'll notice I could leave this like this. I personally like to do some cleanup, so I'm going to introduce a new tool in there called trim. Okay, now this trim tool is going to allow me to trim away parts of the circle and parts of this line. Okay, so we're going to see this. We're going to go and hit the trim here. Okay, now it's going to say constraints were removed. That's okay. And then we're going to be able to trim that. And there we go. So you'll notice our line right here is no longer midpoint to it. Okay, so we're going to go through and utilize some of these constraints up here. So we're going to make sure that this line and this line, we're going to make sure those are collinear. It looks like they are. All right, so we're going to be looking at this one right here and trying to figure out how can we make this to where it sits in the middle, okay? And we're going to utilize these constraints up here, and we'll notice that we have an equal one. We're actually going to make this line over here equal length to this line over here, okay? What'll happen is that'll then force this circle to be in the shape right in the middle, okay? I'm going to finish this sketch. I'm going to hit extrude. It's selected. I'm going to go grab my depth, which is 1.5. I'm going to hit enter, and we are finished with that next block. Okay, this is one of the 5 blocks that you should be creating at the end of this within the 3D modeling software. So we're going to go from this one and into our next one. All right, so the next one that we're going to be looking at is the half moon for our shape right here. So this half moon is what fits underneath the bridge. Okay, so you'll notice that the radius is the same. We know the depth back is the same. Now what's funny is we have a different width and radius here. Okay, I mistyped right here, so the width should be the same as the radius. And actually this radius we're going to match to what we have previously. Okay, so our width we really don't need to worry about. It's that radius that we're going to be dealing with. Okay, so I'm going to go and create our sketch. I'm going to do that front plane. Okay, and this time I'm actually going to grab that circle because that's all I need to do. Okay, we know the radius to diameter is 2 radiuses to 1 diameter. So we know the radius size is 1. Okay, and then I'm going to draw a line across this. Okay, so it's cutting this circle in half, and we're going to utilize this trim tool to trim across it. Okay, now you'll notice we're going to check to see, because we can see that there's a blue line here, so we can tell that that's not set per se. Okay, but what we're going to do is we're going to make this line coincident with the center point or our origin point. Okay, so that's our that's our half moon. Okay, so I'm going to go and make sure to save this. Okay, we're going to finish that sketch. So we see that our half moon's there. We're going to extrude this 1.5 across for our depth. And I'm going to make sure to save that as our half moon. And there she is. We're ready to go. All right, so hopefully the work on this will help you guys through some of the projects that we've been working on. Like I said, for the 3D modeling, there's going to be the 5 that you'll have to do. You'll need to do also the other 3 that are on that page, which would be great and awesome. And it's just more practice for you guys to get used to the program, and then we'll start working with those objects when you are hopefully here in class. All right, we'll see you guys later. Bye.